Welcome to For Your Amusement, a theme park podcast that aims to exhaustively evaluate the world's most popular theme park attractions to determine if they are world class. I'm Brian Bergara.
I'm Byron Marin.
And for this episode's featured attraction, we put on our ponchos and grab a virtual queue to discuss World of Color at Disney California Adventure in Anaheim, California. And joining us in the Carousel of Color is none other than my family. That's right. My brother Jake and my cousin Carter. They're on the pod today. As always, go ahead and like and subscribe if you're watching on youtube.com/watcherpodcast. And rate the podcast 5 stars if you're just listening. And hey, tell a friend. It helps us keep this whack job we got going forward. When we do this show, we ask the guests what ride they'd like to cover. And we had a lot of debate between the three of us. I thought it'd be really funny to have an episode with my family on here, because the three of us have gone to Disneyland quite a bit. It was a family tradition. We would go once a year.
When Carter was a quarter of our size.
That's correct. When Carter was a quarter of our size. And now we're a quarter of his size. How time is cruel to us all.
Are you like 6'3"?
He's 6 foot and Jake and I are about 4'9". But no, this we've seen this show plenty of times. In fact, I think the combination of the three of us might be the most I've seen this show with in a trio, in any show, in that sense. The only thing that would come close is maybe Fantasmic, which we already covered on this show. So why World of Color? Why is this show special to the two of you?
Why is it special? I don't know. The first time we saw it, wasn't our whole family there?
Our whole family was there. That's right.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting a lot out of it. I just went into it not knowing what was going to happen, and then it was pretty magical. Kind of hits you in the
in your coconuts or your heart?
I'll just say heart.
Your heart, yeah, that too.
You had to go a little inappropriate there.
And this was high school, Jake?
You would have been a junior or a sophomore in high school, right?
Junior. I graduated in 2011.
Oh, okay. You were in high school. Carter, you were...
I think I'd be in 6th grade if it was 2010.
Yeah.
And my family, we'd come up once a year because I was born and raised there.
Born and raised there, like in Hawaii?
In Hawaii.
I don't think you said Hawaii. Did you say Hawaii? I think you said
in the pond.
I thought you said you said you were born and raised there, like you were born in Paradise Bay.
Well, yeah. No, I was born and raised in Hawaii.
Our beautiful boy.
Where my family lived, and we'd come up once a year and hit Disneyland with the Bergaras and Grandma, who we called Grandma Disneyland, just because we associated her with the
Disneyland.
Park. We literally come up just to go to Disneyland and have a good time, and the fondest memories and good times were just made there.
It was a good time. This is like back in the era when I would have you on my shoulders. I remember that.
You should do that right now.
Yeah, it's weird to think about.
I don't think if I put you on my shoulders right now, I think my spine would turn into a slinky and I would fucking collapse into the ground.
Now, Carter, is there anything out there that ever resembles an amusement park or a theme park?
No, they have this one little water park out in the middle of the island called Wet n Wild.
Okay.
And there's one just like super long.
We're not asking about your weekend activities, Carter.
But that's it. No.
I'm curious. I was thinking at most maybe little carnivals. I mean, although according to Lilo and Stitch, they have the Hawaiian roller coaster ride.
They have Aulani out there.
There's no roller coaster there. Yeah, Aulani has a lazy river.
That's kind of cool.
There's like a little fountain maybe.
Nothing beats.
So when I saw World of Color for the first time, it was mind-boggling.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
And before we get into first impressions here, I just got to acknowledge a couple things. One, if you're watching the video version of this, you'll see that I have a horrendous mustache. That's because I'm filming a show called Weird Wonderful World. I just want to point that out. This is not a choice. Byron, however, chose to wear that.
I think put the two together. It's on a watch list.
And then as far as we are not filming in our typical little tiki room setup, that's because there's 4 of us and you couldn't fit 4 boys in that little room. So we very gracefully have put the For Your Amusement logo over the Pod Watcher logo. No one could even tell. In fact, no one could even tell that that's a misprint. That we actually printed out that sign one time before and it came out all squished.
But it's framed perfectly there for our dear listeners out there. It's got a very
squished?
much a
The
under
print came out all weird.
It's a under new management kind of vibe. If you're familiar with a Magic Kingdom's Tiki Room,
That's correct. It does got the Magic Kingdom Tiki Room kind of vibe. But for those of you who aren't watching the video version, it doesn't matter. This sounds like any other podcast. Anyways, all that being said, we're going to be talking about the original and the newest World of Color 1 today. All the stuff in between, we don't really have time for that. And frankly, I don't think they're that good. The stuff in the middle. We'll save my opinion on which one's better, the original or World of Color 1 till later. But let's go through some first impressions here. Let's start with you, Byron, actually. Why not? Byron, what was your first impression of this show? Did we see this together for the first time?
You know what? No, I didn't. I don't think we were friends yet.
No, that's crazy.
This came out in 2010.
So it was just me.
So
and
we
Roland.
were underclassmen at the time. However, like with so many of our fellow students, we had annual passes because we were minutes from the park, essentially. So I remember hearing like inklings of hype amongst other students that had already seen it like within like the first week of it coming out.
Yeah.
And I forget who exactly I went with, but it was just one of those nights after classes where we specifically went to watch World of Color. Because it was kind of the first time in a while that anything really made a splash at California Adventure.
Nicely done.
And to my surprise, and like I wasn't as huge on shows at the time. And I don't know, it really took me by surprise. I didn't understand the scale until I actually saw it.
Yeah.
Like just hearing, like fountains and lights. That's cool. Like we get that in like Fantasmic or like Illuminations over at Disney World. It didn't. Yeah. The Bellagio, they got it over in Singapore. So I don't know, like nothing about it really excited me until the scale's just right there. You got the 200-foot plus fountains, but really just how seamless everything worked together and kind of like pulled on those heartstrings. I remember walking away with kind of like a newfound enthusiasm for nighttime shows.
Yeah, I lost half of what you said because after you said Singapore, anytime someone says Singapore, I just think of that one clip from Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End when Ken Watanabe goes, "Welcome to Singapore." And I lost I was just thinking of that guy. I was like, he had a funny beard in that movie.
They should have cut that into this show.
They should have cut that into this show.
Just lead with that and then go into the music.
Yeah, and I do recall the annual pass days back when they weren't $1 gajillion and you had that nice SoCal resident pass. That was fucking sick. Anyways, Jake, what was your? We kind of lightly talked about it, but let's go through your first impression. What was your first thought when you walked out of World of Color?
Magic. I would say just pure magic. No, it's just like
Bruno Mars.
He already said it. It's like pulls on your heartstrings, and the specific moments in that show where like you could literally come to tears. So, yeah, dude.
And this is the first impression from a high schooler.
Carter, what was your first impression when you walked out of the show?
Yeah, I was in 6th grade, so I've never seen anything like it. I think our family went to Vegas maybe before, and the only things I could do were to enjoy like the roller coasters there, like Excalibur. What's the one at? No, New York.
Oh yeah, the Manhattan Express. Although I think they've changed that title a few times now.
Or something. Yeah.
It was the Big Apple coaster for a while. Now I think might just be New York coaster.
Universally recognized by most coaster heads as one of the worst roller coasters ever made. It's really bad. But back at the time, I was like, "Wee!" This is great.
As a kid, you don't recognize awful track profiling. You really feel it at an older age.
I have to admit to you, Byron, as an adult, most people don't recognize track profiling. I think you and I do.
What is track profiling?
Yeah, I have no idea what that even means.
We'll get to it on a future episode of New York.
Yeah, we're going to cover that right for sure.
Let's just put it this way. Janky.
Yeah, janky.
Jankiness. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, anyways, that's all I could do in Vegas was go on the rides, watch the Viking show, and like play Game Boy in the room, but the Bellagio fountain too. So comparing it to that, this was like Bellagio fountain on steroids. Plus,
it's because you're closer too.
Well,
a lot closer.
It depends. It depends where you're sitting. Yeah, like
the distance from the railing to the actual fountains.
Yeah, and World of Color, you could get quite close, especially if you're in that blue section, which is my favorite section.
You could feel it.
You could feel the water. That's why you got to get them ponchos on.
Do you remember that time when their family friends came with them, and we went I said, let's go to the front. And I was like, you won't get wet at all. And then we walked out of there drenched.
Fucking destroyed.
And everyone was so mad at me because they believed me.
And then you took them to Waterworld and told them the same thing.
Sit on the green benches. My first impression, it's anyone who knows me, or at least knew me well during this time, knew I had an unhealthy obsession with this show. In fact, I have a World of Color sweatshirt that I was going to wear today, but then I realized the entire front of it is just a giant Mickey head, and the back says World of Color, so I couldn't wear it.
The metallic one.
The metallic one, yeah. I really loved the show. I honestly went to go see it maybe one time a week, and that's not counting how many times I would watch it on YouTube. In fact, there's actually a video that we could play right now of me reacting to this. I used to room with a guy named Roland. He was in my dorm, and he recorded a video of me watching this in the dorm. And the caption of the video is, Ryan really likes World of Color.
And the sure is waiting. Let it open your eyes. Imagine, see what wonders can be. His journey can hold us tight.
God damn it. I love that show.
Wait, how old are you there?
20 years old.
Almost legally allowed to drink.
That's a 20-year-old college boy spending his time huddled away in the dark instead of watching other things, watching World of Color. And that's just proof that I've always been a sicko and annoying. But no, I do love this show.
And now you're so distinguished with a mustache.
Well, look, once again, this is not my choice. I don't like this mustache. I don't condone it. And I know that's disappointing to some people in the room. In fact, our producer, Matt Rial, sports one of the best mustaches I've ever seen.
Nice.
But it's just not for me.
Super nice.
Anyways, let's move on to some history here, Byron. Let's talk about the World of Color and the World of Color. Drop the it's cleaner.
Great. We're going to go back to September 24th of 1961. Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color debuts on NBC. This television series, hosted by Walt Disney, was presented in the spirit of his previous show titles, Disneyland and Walt Disney Presents.
Also, by the way, just so you two know, if you have any questions while he's giving history or any comments, just feel free to interrupt him. It's fine.
Yeah, then we'll stop the music just like we just did right there.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
We call them little sidebars.
Yeah, in case you just need some clarification, because sometimes you do.
And for clarification, like this first show that aired on ABC, Disneyland, that was an agreement that Walt made with ABC because they were really struggling at the time. And so Walt used it to essentially advertise and get people amped up for this park they were building out.
Walt Disney's Disneyland.
So it was essentially like an anthology series that was kind of based on the certain lands they were introducing and attractions. It was hosted by Walt Disney. Both of these shows, they made their runs on ABC prior to Walt Disney switching to NBC to take advantage of the network's ability to broadcast in color. The new show would also feature a theme song written by the Sherman Brothers. Rest in peace, by the way, to Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that's true. You guys, the Sherman Brothers wrote a bunch of Disney classics, wrote A Small World.
The defensive end?
No, not Richard Sherman, the defensive end. one of the famed Sherman brothers who wrote Disney classics like It's a Small World. Just keep going.
It's that iconic theme song at the beginning of this. It ends up making it into the attraction that we're talking about today.
It's great.
Color, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
It's great.
Although the show's title would change in 1968 to The Wonderful World of Disney, the name World of Color would obviously return to cement its name in Disney lore. January 30th of 1988, a live show entitled Illuminations debuts at Epcot's World Showcase, and although it wasn't the first nighttime show to take place on this lagoon, it would inherit the water screen projections introduced in its predecessor, Laserphonic Fantasy. Illuminations would take these effects to new heights and gain instant popularity, which would result in a massive increase in World Showcase attendance. The technology and success garnered through these nighttime shows at Epcot would go on to inspire 1992's Fantasmic and perhaps the nighttime spectacular we are discussing today. Fast forward to November of 2001, Disney's California Adventure is finishing off its first operating year to rather less than stellar results, but introduces guests to a nighttime spectacular on the Paradise Bay Lagoon, a nighttime spectacular that most of you viewers and listeners have probably never heard of. And it's called Disney's Luminaria.
The holidays are a special time of year, a time of joy and giving. Tonight, we invite you to gather around Paradise Bay to celebrate together. Come share in the season of light as Disney's California Adventure presents Luminaria.
Dude, I don't think I've ever seen this show.
I don't believe I have either.
He's on the same pond.
Yeah, I think it's on the same bay.
I remember that.
How much of old California Adventure do you even remember, Jake?
Me?
Yeah.
I remember that big sun in the
Oh
front,
yeah, the big shitty
Golden
sun.
Gate.
Yeah, and the Golden Gate Bridge. They'd be playing a lot of Beach Boys, that kind of stuff. It was an interesting park. Superstar limo, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the show at all. That's crazy.
No.
This is the first time on the show you said something that I did not know.
Fuck off.
That I'm sounding like a dig, but I was more amazed because like this is some good digging, dude.
The reason why you probably, or most people probably haven't heard of this show is it only ran for no more than a couple months. This was back. It was essentially just a seasonal show.
I see.
They didn't obviously do all this construction on the lagoon. They floated out some little floats or barges. They had like minimal fireworks shows. I actually watched some of the footage. It isn't as bad as what you'd think it is.
Gotta check it out.
It was actually directed by the same guy that would go on to do World of Color.
Yeah, when they gave him more money to do it.
Right.
Wait, how long was this Luminaria show?
I don't know how long the duration was exactly. I don't think it was quite as long as
No, I mean, like, how long was it there?
I found it's not the duration that matters, it's the length.
Just the holiday season of 20. This would have been the end of 2001 to the beginning of 2002, I believe. So it was just the first year. They never brought it back. It was specifically just holiday themed. I think it was like just part of an overall holiday celebration with the Disneyland Resort.
But it was using the same water spout.
No, that didn't come out yet. So this was just this was kind of reduced to, they had small projections on these floats that came out. But this is very much like they seriously went to Illuminations and they're like, let's do a smaller scaled version of that. So there's a few fireworks, nothing too crazy.
They just float Mickey Mouse out on a boat with a hose. He's doing cool hose tricks.
You know, they projected some kids enjoying their presents in the holidays, stuff like that.
That's cute.
It actually seemed pretty cute on the video, but nothing that was meant to stay.
Nothing you're going to spend. The problem that California Adventure had, and the reason why the attendance was suffering, is because people found out very quickly you could do that park in like 3 hours. And there was no reason to stick around till nighttime. And you didn't have to make a full day. Therefore, you could just get Disneyland and California Adventure done in one day. They needed like a nighttime spectacular to make you stay till night.
And Luminaria, bless its heart, didn't have quite enough.
Wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah, to keep people like 5 or 6 extra hours in the park.
So enter the king then.
So yeah, some things just aren't meant to last. What can we say? So this takes us to 2007, where we find the Walt Disney Company in desperate need of breathing life into Disney's California Adventure. With that, Bob Iger announces a massive $1.1 billion reimagining of the park, which would result in the construction of Buena Vista Street and Cars Land. But prior to the completion of those projects, a new, unique nighttime spectacular had been in the works since 2005 and was destined to turn the Paradise Bay area of the park into required viewing material. This is, by the way, there's a sidebar here. This is how the upcoming show was described on the Walt Disney Company's website on October 17th of 2007.
Ooh.
The dramatic and unique Disney's World of Color will bring new nighttime excitement to Paradise Pier. This nightly panorama of spectacular water effects, colorful lighting, and music will bring Disney animation to life with an entirely new creative and technical approach. The 9,000-person viewing area offers prime waterside viewing of the show and provides a site for live entertainment, music festivals, and outdoor film premieres. All right, back into it. By the end of 2008, the lagoon in front of Paradise Pier was drained to make way for a massive platform to be constructed inside the 3.5-acre ditch. This platform would be equipped with a whole lot of fountains, lighting rigs, and much, much more. By January of 2010, the team at Walt Disney Imagineering began their testing phase. It's important to note that prior and during this construction process, there was an endless amount of creative work going on behind the scenes. New music was being composed, an insane amount of program being done, choreography, the whole works. This would all culminate in a June 11th debut of 2010 for World of Color.
Walt Disney presents.
That was Grandma's birthday.
Yeah.
What?
Grandma Disneyland's birthday.
Grandma Gummy Bears. We and Ryan knew her.
We knew her as Grandma Gummy Bear because she used to give us gummy bears. Carter knew her as Grandma Disneyland. We only identified our grandparents by what they gave us. Little gifts, not because they were our relatives. That's Grandma Gummy Bear. She gives me gummy bears. That's Grandma Disneyland.
Grandma Disneyland is a pretty cool name.
Over the years, World of Color would get a variety of overlays and re-themes. This includes 2013's Winter Dreams Holiday Overlay, 2015's World of Color Celebrate, which ran in conjunction with Disneyland's 60th anniversary celebration. Additional iterations of this was 2016's World of Color Season of Light, which was a new holiday overlay to replace Winter Dreams.
That kicks ass, by the way.
Is it? Because that's the first one was like very Olaf Frozen.
Yes, it was
based, right?
Or Season of Light actually leans into Christmas classics like Nat King Cole's like a Christmas song and stuff like that.
Deeper cuts, right?
Well, not even deeper cuts, more like stuff you would hear at like when you're shopping at like a Christmas shop or something.
Oh, gotcha. But I'm like talking about like the films and stuff they used. I feel like
it just leans into the less Disney Christmas themes and more just Christmas and holiday themes.
Yeah, and less into hey, we just made this movie that seems relevant to the winter season.
That's right. Watch the Snowman Ice Skate.
Hey, I get it. 2016 also included an exclusive show to celebrate its cast members entitled World of Color Celebrate You, which I believe they only did like 2 nights and it was just exclusive to the cast members.
That's pretty cool.
Kind of neat. Fall of 2019 introduced World of Color Villainous as a spooky season overlay for attendees of the Oogie Boogie Bash, but this version has not returned since 2019.
It's okay.
And then finally, January 27th of 2023, we get the debut of World of Color 1. This version of the beloved show was produced to help celebrate 100 years of the Walt Disney Company. World of Color 1 is still running as of the day of this podcast recording, so nearly a year and a half.
And that show kicks so much ass. It's
like a new one?
It's a completely new show. We could let's save it for the good and the bad because I'm curious what you guys think. But let's get into some fun facts. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors. All right, let's get into some fun facts. The show is 22 minutes to 24 minutes long, depending on which one we're talking about. The Lagoon, Paradise Bay, or the little park is called Paradise Park. That could hold up to 4,000 people, but Byron just said 9,000, which is interesting to me.
Well, remember, they made that announcement prior
to it actually
coming out. Yeah. That was a 2007.
Yeah. So prior to infrastructure and all that stuff. The show cost a reported $75 million to design and build, though Wikipedia has it at $175 million. I'm going to guess that's a little bit more expensive than, what the hell is the name of the other one?
Luminaria.
Oh, Luminaria.
Luminaria. Well, that costs like a couple corn dogs or something. They really went for it in this one. You could tell too. Like, there's no way. When I first saw this show, I was like, dude, this shit must have cost so much money because it's really impressive. The show's original concept was to be a living Fantasia, which in ways it kind of is. It's kind of moving through abstract scenes, I guess, in that they're not really linked to each other. Somewhat they are, I guess, by loose thematics, but
which is really funny because Fantasmic was so influenced by Fantasia as well.
Yeah. The show's original score was recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London, famous for the Beatles recording there, among many others. The anthemic World of Color score featured more than 100 voices and 100 instruments recording at this studio. A lot of I don't think all at the same time. That would be a lot, but that's a lot of folks involved.
Reminds me of that SpongeBob episode.
The SpongeBob. Anytime I think of folks recording all at the same time in a studio, I think of that one video of Michael Jackson,
World of Color.
When he's
We Are the World.
When he's at the We Are the World recording and he's hearing all the people next to him ruin the song.
He's like nodding his head.
He's just nodding his head. He just stops nodding his head and it kind of zooms into his face and he's just looking at people like, what the fuck are you doing? That wasn't happening because everybody in this soundtrack for World of Color, I think we all agree this song was a banger. The original World of Color score is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very good. But it is, as the kids say, lit. The new score for World of Color 1, the new soundtrack, if you will, specifically the song Start a Wave. was written by Grammy-nominated artist Cody Fry and features lead vocals performed by singer-songwriter and actress Lauren Allred, who is mostly known for being the actual voice singing Never Enough for Rebecca Ferguson in The Greatest Showman, which, if you've seen that movie, she can really sing. I don't know if they let her, bust out the pipes enough here on this song. But I had no idea that was the. Oh, you knew that. I saw you nodding your head. Who Lauren?
Well, I know
Allred.
Lauren Allred is because she has like the best live performance on YouTube I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Of Never Enough.
Of Never Enough.
It's
crazy.
fucking crazy. It gives me
to see
chills.
this.
Yeah.
Why'd you go before you said that?
I don't know.
Is that what you said?
I was
before?
thinking.
You say that before anything. You're excited. Additional animation was required for the show, and one award-winning animator employed the technique of sand animation for an added Aladdin sequence, which, as the name suggests, involves the employment of sand to animate, creating a unique texture and feel. And if you watch the original show, you could kind of see that. It's during the Whole New World kind of segment. The World of Color show area is nearly 1 full acre of 1,200 programmable fountains and other equipment, aka longer than a football field. We briefly discussed this in our Epic Universe ep with Alicia Stella, but let's revisit this. It's trivia time, guys. What fountains shoot the highest? Put them in order. The Bellagio, World of Color, and Universal Studios Orlando's new Cinesational A Symphonic Spectacular.
I've never seen the Universal one, so
yeah.
It's brand new, though. It just came out this year.
So it must be really good.
It must be pretty high.
I'm gonna say that's number one.
Okay,
Bellagio's
that's one.
second, World of Color's third.
Byron, you pretty much know.
I think I know this one. Well, yeah, we already did this. I think the Bellagio is the tallest still. World of Color would be in the middle, and then Epic Universes would be the shortest.
That is correct. Byron
nice.
wins. Congratulations,
Wow.
You've won nothing, but you are correct. Bellagio is at 460 feet. World of Color is at 200 feet, which is that always blows my mind that Bellagio is that much higher.
Far away.
You're far away. You're
Yeah.
far away. Like Jake said, the railing's very far.
Yeah.
And then Cinesational over at Universal Studios Orlando is 131 feet.
That's it.
Wah, wah.
Those Bellagio
Ooh.
fountains, though, more of a one-trick pony. They don't dance like these do.
No, they don't dance like the way I want them to dance.
It's only water and lights. There's no like lasers
That's
or
pretty
anything.
lame.
Yeah, no lasers, dude. Where the fuck is the fucking lasers, man? In the fire. That's Jake. When he's drunk on the strip, he's screaming that at the fountains. Where are my lasers?
I'm stomping up and down.
Yeah, just stomping up and down like one of the like Angry Dwarf
Holding a Fat
From,
Tuesday.
from Snow White. Cinesational also only has 228 fountains, while World of Color has 1,200. Bellagio has 1,214. So 14 more fountains at the Bellagio.
They all did the
What?
same thing.
They all.
It feels like they don't use them.
I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, I think the distance is really doing a lot of work for Bellagio in terms of just like the scale of World of Color seems so large because you're so close to it. That was actually a really good point that Jake made earlier, and it's rare that he makes a good point, so I want to point that out. World of Color. World of Color also has a projected water screen of 380 feet wide by 50 feet high. That's a massive projection surface of 19,000 square feet, aka 2 times bigger than the biggest IMAX screen in the world. Which
Where's
is
that?
Germany.
Is that relatively
imagine
new
sitting
then?
in the
Because I
front
thought
row?
the Darling Harbor one in Australia was the largest for a while.
For a screen, IMAX screen
Like
size?
IMAX screen, yeah.
I saw Germany today, but either way, World of Color is at 19,000 square feet, which is crazy. And you really do feel it because you're so close to it. It's a pretty impressive screen, and the clarity on it is fantastic. On that screen are 28 HD projectors, 14 of which are underwater in the 15 million gallon lagoon. It's rumored that original plans for the show included a fountain named Little Squirt, aka Jake's porn name. Anyways, Little Squirt.
Stop, dude. Had enough of you.
Anyways, Little Squirt. Anyways, Little Squirt was supposed to be.
Unbelievable.
Anyways, Little Squirt was supposed to be the spirit of Walt Disney, a small, enduring orange fountain that would appear throughout the show and remain on after the others turned off, taking a bow and then disappearing forever. It's a very nice little nod they had to Walt. Of course, they took it out, but it would have been a nice nod. It said that leaked earlier versions of the original show included sequences, and by sequences, I'm imagining full built-out sequences of Alice in Wonderland, Hercules, Go the Distance, Princess and the Frog, and Pirates of the Caribbean, The Ride, I'm assuming, because the actual Pirates film sequence made it into the show. I will note, Alice in Wonderland, Princess of the Frog, you see brief little clips of them in the original show, but not like a full out
Like
sequence.
at the end.
Like at the
that
end.
montage.
Yeah, in the montage.
the kissing montage, yeah.
The kissing montage.
Remember that part.
Carter loves that part.
I'm sure you do. Carter's out there
grade,
kissing the air.
Yeah. His 6th grade crush is there with him.
Yeah, dude. Hercules, though, go the distance. I feel like
I
that
was about
would
to say that would be really good.
that shit would
Missed out.
rip.
Potential, yeah.
Because they still do, like, they have a Pocahontas sequence in the new World of Color 1. They could bring back the Hercules sequence.
It's Colors of the Wind, right?
It's Colors of the
Colors of
Wind.
the Wind.
And the original
Wild, yeah.
is just around the river.
Colors of the Wind is in both World of Color 1 and the original.
No, the original
one
has
is
just around the
just
riverbend.
around-
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the original, it does transition into Colors of the Wind.
Into Colors of the
right?
Wind, right?
Does it?
I think
one
it
point.
does.
At one
Just
point,
around the
yeah.
riverbend. I don't think it does.
Or either
Well,
maybe the orchestral
No, because it goes.
part of
No,
it.
here it goes. It goes.
It's like it's that
Just
big
around the river.
When she goes down, there's a part where she comes down in the canoe and it goes dun 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 dun, and it goes.
I started hopping with you, dude. And it gets like really.
Oh no,
tall.
you're right. Yeah, Colors of the Wind does come in. At
It
the end.
does, yeah,
But it's an
This guy's
orchestral
ignoring it.
version. It's an orchestral version. It's not the actual.
Alan Menken.
The good news is we'll never get a copyright strike for this because we are butchering it so badly.
No, they're going to be like, they used that song because I heard it in there. From me going, but that one part, I'll talk about it in the good. It really gets me going. The OG show featured scenes from Little Mermaid, Finding Nemo, Fantasia 2000, WALL-E, Toy Story, Up, Aladdin, Pocahontas, A Bug's Life, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, Lion King, Enchanted, Dumbo, Tangled, Lady and the Tramp, Princess and the Frog, Beauty and the Beast, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella, among others. There's actually also an obscure clip from the movie or short, I believe, The Old Mill. Which
Yeah.
is like
Wait,
an old silly
And
symphony swings.
I was about to ask about that because it's like that. Then the mill just comes up and it turns into
That's from Fantasia.
Yeah,
Pirates
it comes right
after.
after Heimlich comes out
yeah.
and does his funny little like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Wait, what is the one part where there's like a green fairy looking
That's
lady? and
Fantasia
she's like this?
2000. The new show features Pocahontas, Soul, Coco, Encanto, Ratatouille, Star Wars, Lion King, Mulan, Moana, The Avengers, as well as many new lighting and laser effects. As Byron mentioned, there's a seasonal version called Season of Light, which features classic holiday songs, and it fucking rules. That's not a fact, but it kind of is. From Disney's own fact sheet, here's them talking about World of Color 1. Quote, the bold and graphic approach to the Avengers portion of the show was inspired by end credit sequences in Black Panther and the Disney Plus original series Hawkeye. The Star Wars segment uses a painterly style based on original production art from the films. End quote. There's also a new Inside Out 2 pre-show at the time of this recording. So you can go check that out. I guess I haven't seen it myself. So that does it for the fun facts. Let's go ahead and move on to the good and the bad. This is where we talk about the things that we like about this ride or this show and the things we don't like. But before we do that, let's once again thank our sponsors. And we are back. It's time for the good and the bad. I'm going to run through all my goods and my bads. Feel free to jump in and add any or correct me if you don't like what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about, Jake? I could see you. You're ready. He's ready. The first good I wrote, and this is actually going to come back to bite me, and because there's really nothing to it, but I do think the pre-show atmosphere to World of Color starting is my favorite. I don't know why.
Wait, what?
You know when you're like waiting for the show to start for World of Color?
The lights dim or
Just right before. Everyone seems to be buzzing before this happens. Even more so than Fantasmic. I don't know why. I think it's because just it's nicer to look at the Pixar Pal Around Ferris wheel and then like Incredicoaster.
Wait, wasn't there a point where the Ferris wheel was a game?
Oh yeah.
Yes, there was. Yes, yeah.
It was like Simon Says or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. That was actually really fun. But I do think the atmosphere is fun. Next good I wrote is the opening boom. When the show first starts and it goes boom, when all the lights come down, fucking amazing.
I think it's more of a horn sound.
Is it? Can you demonstrate for me?
I just went honk honk.
It was like one of those old awooga sounds.
Yeah.
And the vintage soundtrack coming through. With Tinkerbell hitting the water screen, and then those little fountains. There's a part in the score where it just like kind of like ding, 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 ding. And then the water's just kind of squirting, just little squirts of like color coming out.
Oh, and it looks like little water droplets.
Yeah. No, it's more like just like a little squirt up of like a squirt. Here's a squirt of orange. Here's a squirt of green. Here's like a squirt of red. You know,
they're like popping up all over.
They're popping up all over, but it's not like a lot. It's just starting with this like. It's like
little squirts.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's kind of gets you like, oh shit, we're about to like, they're kind of letting it sizzle and we're about to get into it. We've talked about this earlier. The original score fucking rules. It ties everything together perfectly. Introduces the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King at the beginning of the show. Just lets you know what you're kind of in store for.
Hey, what is the?
Yeah, who composed that?
You know the three. It's like a blue. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What are the three things it says?
Oh, it's like a blue rolling sea or something.
Blue rolling stream.
A red summer rise.
What is the second one? Red sunrise.
Rose?
No. The last one.
It's like roast or rise.
A sunset in the sky.
A sunset in the sky. And it shows like, and then it has a little Spanish guitar come in with Mufasa. It's like ding 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 ding.
Yeah, I guess
it's really good. Also in that intro sequence, you see the first full fountain blast when they all. Right when it crescendos with the swell of the score, when it goes, "The wonderful world," you see that. Next good I have, part of your world sequence fucking kicks ass. There's like a little effect they do here where it looks like water bending, where like they move the fountains in the light in such a way where it literally looks like waves in the air. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's like.
Yeah, it's really, really good. If you've seen it, it's really, really pleasurable to look at.
I have that on my goods as well. Like the ability to create like an artificial like surface of the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. They like painting with water, essentially.
It's the lasers, bro.
Also, part of your world, fun fact, my favorite Disney song. And also, this show has such good orchestral versions of all these Disney classics, because they'll play a little bit of the classic just to whet your appetite and to let you know what's going on, and then it will transition into a very grand score, which is amazing. Actually, let me make sure that, you know what, I'm switching to laptop for this show because I keep forgetting which ones I have clips for. This is a first time on this show. I don't think I have a clip for this. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I wanted to show you guys the transition to part of your world. So good. It's anyways, you get it. It's pretty fucking good. And it just really just is like a very seamless transition into it too. And they're really good at making the swell of the song go with the lighting and the water. I feel like designing the show must have been a fucking blast. And that's my next good. The transitions in this original version, I really do think are incredible, and they don't feel arbitrary. That's my one critique of World of Color 1. I don't think the transitions are as creative.
Pretty rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes.
They feel very like, all right, now it's Star Wars time.
Yeah.
And now it's like, now we're in Seoul. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like they kind of go from one thing to the next, because after part of your world comes Under the Sea, and there's a bunch of other great little transitions that we'll talk about here. I just wrote Define Fucking Dancing. That sequence from WALL-E to Define Dancing is so goddamn good.
Wait, WALL-E's my favorite part in the show. It's because of the I don't know, the ones are kind of going like this in a circle, and then there's like a little like dots.
I know.
They're like dots.
Yeah,
so,
like
and they're
Sharon
moving
was
at the top of the thing.
It creates that layer in the sky.
He's describing the fountains during the WALL-E portion. They're kind of like long singular fountains, like a long jet stream of water. But at the very top of the stream of water, they have a light that's shining at the very top, pinpointed at the edge, so that when they move around, it literally looks like someone is painting in the sky. It's fucking amazing.
Wait, how do they do that?
I have no idea.
You know, I feel like it's like a flat laser. Here's the lasers again. Look, get this. It's like a flat laser that's just projected in the water. Once it crosses that
Oh,
You know
I
what I
see.
mean?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is instead of like having it fine tuned to the movement because that would require some.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Precision. But
Shout out Nick Young.
Shout out Nick Young.
And speaking of dancing, when they developed this show and like during like their programming phase, they actually had a choreographer that the programmers watched dance.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, that's
Let me
so
see,
good.
Yeah, Joshua Horner was the choreographer. There's like interview footage of him,
Oh,
but he
man,
essentially
that's
danced
awesome.
in front of the programmers so they could try and give the fountains life. So it is mimicking dance movements.
It makes sense that they would try and have it mimic human movement. It also mimics the movement of Wally and Eve dancing because they're spinning around in space, floating. It's just a beautiful scene too. It's like where they have their first kiss, I suppose. I love Wally. Wally is probably a top 5 Pixar film for me. And also, this has perhaps my favorite transition in the entire show. To end the scene, Wally has a fire extinguisher, and as he's blowing the fire extinguisher, clouds are coming out of it, and the clouds turn into the clouds from Andy's room. And now we're in Toy Story, and we're getting that great scene with Buzz and Woody, where Woody calls Buzz Mr. Lightbeer. Great joke. And this sequence, man, I think this was the first sequence in the show where I was like, wow, this is truly...
I was talking to Byron about this before. I really like how they use the space.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the little smaller projections come up and like Buzz hops down.
Yeah, they have multiple little water screens. You see Buzz hopping around. In the middle is a giant laser Zerg.
So, we meet again, Buzz Lightyear, for the last time.
Not today, Zerg.
Surrender, Buzz Lightyear.
I'll never give in. To infinity and beyond.
This is the first sequence in the show for me where I was, while I watched it for the first time, I remember thinking like, wow, this might be the most technologically advanced show I've ever seen in person. This is fucking crazy. And I just remember thinking, how much money did they spend on this? Because it's truly spectacular. And then, like Carter said earlier, this is the first time we see the true height of how high this fountain can go.
I remember tracking people like after I'd already seen this show before, like revisiting it and like actually watching the audience's head do these circular emotions around while he's flying around.
Well, the initial launch too.
Yeah, like it covers so much space.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
That shot of Buzz flying towards you in that like orange glow, and then the ending of this scene where he actually says to infinity and beyond and blasts off and the aliens come in. It's a real showstopper.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the most part, I would say maybe one of 2 moments in this entire first original show that is a showstopper, whereas World of Color 1 is just packed with them. Next thing we got here is the single balloon to start up. And then I wrote a little sad face because it always makes me a little misty-eyed.
The whole crowd goes, oh.
Yeah, you hear the whole crowd. This is a great ah break. Is where you hear everybody in the crowd just really going through it. And
that Michael Giacchino, just delicate piano.
yeah, stuff we did coming in on the piano. And one thing I really like that's like a small detail is once the first balloon comes up, as the rest of the balloons come up, you could actually hear them kind of like bobbling against each other.
Of the
and
the sound design.
It might be just like suggestion, but I feel like I could actually feel like a light breeze on my face when that happens. It's really good. And this is like one moment where it's like a clear ISO where someone calls out for an ISO at the top of the screen or at the top of the key. And it's just the full water screen. There's no fountains. All you see is just the balloons filling the screen. It's perfect. Moving on to the Friend Like Me sequence. Really good stuff here.
You never had a friend like me.
Love Robin Williams. Timing on the lights here at the beginning of... There's a part in the song where he goes, "Can your friends do this?" Dun, 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 dun. And the fountain timing here is just really, really fun. And also there's the horns in the song where the water's kind of splashing up in the air and they're changing lights on the horn hits. It's really great.
It goes like, woo, woo.
Yeah. It goes, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And then there's also that funny little applause timer. The one thing I will say about the original show is you have to be in a certain part in Paradise Park to see that effect because there's one water screen that's kind of hard to see from the side, which could be a bad. The Fantasia 2000 sequence, hypnotizing. It's not really like spectacular. I just enjoy it. And then we talked about this earlier, Just Around the River Bend, a banger.
What's around the river bend? Waiting just around the river bend.
The orchestral version here, probably among the best featured in the show. And really is the first time we see the chasing fountain effect.
And Colors of the Wind confirmed.
Colors of the Wind confirmed. I forgot that it does get featured in the orchestral version at the end, at the tail end of the chasing fountains. Those they never get old. I know they do that. I know they did that at the Bellagio, but I feel like it just.
That's all the same color.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it's timed as well. No disrespect.
The layering here is just top notch.
It's top notch stuff.
And they don't have like Alan Menken on their scores either.
Who is Alan Menken?
He's the guy bringing him up because he did the Aladdin score.
Yeah, or the Disney's.
I'm not film people.
And like who could forget the main music and theme for Sinbad over at Disney Sea?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a little bit of a deeper cut, but I'm like, Alan Menken did that song.
After that, we got Heimlich, funny guy. I love that they carved out 2 minutes just for this funny little worm man to do his bits. From here, you all look like little ants.
Whoa, that was really good.
That's him.
I almost thought you played it on the laptop. Like,
I didn't.
For real.
I just worked on that for 30 minutes this morning. I think I'm going to wet myself.
Mari's just like puking in the restroom.
I was practicing in the shower and she was like calling 911. He's like, I think my husband's finally lost it. He's cracked. And I just love that guy. And then, of course, we get a little cameo in this show from none other. Yes, it is Jack Sparrow. It's Pirates of the Caribbean. But the cameo is none other than Hans Zimmer. Because we're hearing the He's a Pirate score in a Disney show, which feels like cheating. It almost feels like God mode has been enabled. And it's like, they shouldn't be able to do this. They shouldn't be able to use Hans. And yet they are.
Yeah, and they use Lion King, though. That's Hans again.
This is Hans calling for an ISO. You really feel the heat here. Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Completely rips.
That's the At World's End.
Stop just going to and it's just the staccato with the lights is so crazy. But I think it's actually demonstrative of what World of Color 1 improves on, because in World of Color, the original, it's not as crazy as it would have been. Like, they have moments like that in 1 that are like really well timed because the technology just got better. And then there's that fun fire explosion at the end with Jack's scream.
Did everyone see that? Because I will not be doing it again.
And then we get into the end of the show here. Specifically, the whole stampede sequence is pretty harrowing and heartbreaking. This shit's gonna make me cry. It's too fucking much. It's too much.
It's incredible how effective just having nothing go on.
Yes.
Yeah, the beats in between are like
just because you earned it with the spectacle going into it. So where you hit these somber beats, you could just bring everything down.
Like you were saying, the long period of silence with dark, and the first thing you hear is "Dad" is absolutely demented. And this is usually the part of the show where you hear people like actively crying, myself usually included, because it's just fuck. Lion King does something to me. There's something about the Lion King that I watched the Lion King recently, and it dawned on me how insane it is that there is a literal body discovery scene of a child finding his father's lifeless body in a children's movie I can't believe they got away with that. It's fucking crazy. He puts his like body under his dad's like lifeless arms to cuddle with him.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I don't think they do enough of these scenes though anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but they're very moving. They're very relatable. Like let's think I think like generations of Disney fans, like whether it's like Bambi, like Fox and the Hound, the car getting driving away. What was another really big one? Oh, Dumbo, the baby mine scene.
You know, what's funny is you actually are naming off because once this moment happens in the show, they start playing the song So Close from Enchanted, which is this very sad piano song. And they literally show B-roll after they show you Simba cuddling with his dead father. They then cut to shots of first Simba being born and being coddled by his mother. And then they show a shot of Bambi. And then they show a shot of Dumbo being rocked to sleep by his mother's trunk that's sticking through a jail cell bar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's fucking crazy because she can't hold him, so the best she could do is put her trunk through the bars of the jail cell.
Breaks me every time.
Rewatch Dumbo, maybe.
Anyways, that sequence, it's designed to kill you. Some people might say this is a bad and it's cheap, but I think it's so well done that I think it's a very good sequence.
Whoever made that choice to put So Close over all those, that's just the best choice of the entire show, in my opinion.
It's really bold because
not only who's watched Enchanted.
No, and you know what's crazy?
I grew up on Enchanted, but that's just
and
our generation.
And you know what's crazy?
I've seen it ever.
I have once, and I wouldn't have recognized the score, but I do know it's a love score, which is interesting that they're playing these tragic clips over it, but then the sequence then transitions into a love sequence of familiar characters like kissing and embracing. This honestly feels like it should be in the bad on paper. Like if you would have told me like, here's a sequence where we show Mufasa dying, all these horrible things happening, and then we're just going to hard cut to people like
romantic moments,
kissing and Lady and the Tramp pushing a meatball next to each other. Like I would have been like, there's no fucking way that's going to work. And yet in the show, it does. So I actually feel like this is a good.
Does Belle start the momentum shift?
The whole sequence ends with Belle over the body of the dead beast and then saying I love you, which resurrects him. And then we go into the finale of the show. And the big finale, it starts with a big flash of white fountains at full blast. And then the World of Color main score comes in, and at this point, we're riding. It is really, we're right into the finish here, and it's great. Whew, whew, whew.
Let's bring it home.
This shit is hot. This shit is hot.
Wait,
when I watched this for the first time, I was dancing.
That ending or Phantasmic ending?
The Phantasmic ending still gives me the most chills when Mickey comes out on top of Tom Sawyer's Island, but I will say this is very close. Like the first time I saw this, I was like losing my mind, especially because it comes on the heels of them really punching you in the gut with that sad moment. And you kind of like, when the beast is rising, I almost feel like we're all kind of like, whew, thank God, because that was fucking depressing. And then it goes into the World of Color score, which is really spectacular. And you start to see recap shots of everything you saw on the show. And it makes it feel like you went on a narrative journey, even though in reality, you actually really didn't. You really just saw what essentially comes down to a highlight reel of Disney films.
Yeah, but it's so seamlessly done, especially in the original version.
Yes.
Which was like another good I'd throw in there was, it's not just copy paste material. It's not like they just took all the like exact animation, pasted it into it and projected it. Like original animation was actually done to modify a lot of these scenes.
Yeah.
Like you're even bringing up the sand animation.
Yeah, for Aladdin.
The music, once again, it's like inspired by the Sherman Brothers theme, but then they just take it to all these new places. Same with even the music of the films that they're covering. So to pull off these transitionals, there's just so much original stuff at play especially in the first version.
Yeah, you're really touching on something that I feel like the company Disney, Disney as a company is lacking in, especially parks and resorts, is that right now it feels like when they have their classic traditional IP, these great just titans of, in the industry in terms of everyone has this nostalgic connection to all these properties. They are doing a really bad job right now, it feels like, of plussing them to feel modern. Where this show seamlessly took these older properties and then made them feel modern in a way that wasn't
definitely
pandering. Now you see for instance, no disrespect, but the new fireworks show that has the Grim Grinning Ghost from Haunting Mansion, and they turn it into a dubstep song. What the hell is that? What is that? I don't understand that.
It's different. I don't know if it's tasteful.
But that feels pandering to me. It feels like this is what the kids would like. Whereas here it was we're going to make a kick-ass show. We're going to make the transitions incredible. We're going to make the orchestration be top-notch. And I don't feel like they do that anymore. Which is why I was so surprised by World of Color 1, which we're about to get into. I didn't write it down as much for World of Color 1. But
we still have to talk about that one.
That's right, baby. You're going to be here for a long time. You're in my world now. Just really quickly, going down the line, do you prefer the original or World of Color 1 more before we get into World of Color 1?
It's closer than I would have thought before seeing World of Color 1.
I would agree with that as well.
Because I guess we've seen a couple of the other ones. I don't know if I remember Celebrate though, the Neil Patrick Harris one.
I barely remember that.
I do remember both of the holiday ones. I enjoy them, but I'm usually okay, get me the real stuff.
I remember being unimpressed by Celebrate, so that's all I'll say. I haven't revisited it.
You remember when we went on New Year's Eve?
Oh man!
And then there was so much fireworks going off, and around the bay, it was just smoke.
Yeah,
and you couldn't even see the fountains. It was just a blur of color.
Yeah, it felt like we were being attacked by the smokers from Waterworld. Jake, do you like World of Color 1 or World of Color the original better?
Original. I think the original score.
Is it close or is it?
It's close. Probably not as close as you think it is, but.
Carter, what about you?
Original, 100%. Not even
close.
There's a few sequences in one that are pretty good to me, but the original, the seamless transitions, just
I think it's better
the
unit.
True Disney magic that I remember from being a kid. Was that original show? It might be nostalgic for me too, so I don't know.
I think that also I took that into it as well, the nostalgia of it. I feel like I've never watched them back to back like I did preparing for this podcast, and I have to say, watching them back to back, I found myself being really more blown away by one. I think the original I like better as a whole.
From a technical standpoint or a storytelling standpoint?
From a storytelling standpoint. Technically, World of Color 1 it's not even close, honestly. It's so much better, technically.
Yeah. Well, no, they really dialed it in. They improved on the light packages on both the Ferris wheel and Incredicoaster. The sound mixing just sounds better. I don't know, they might have upgraded that sound system.
No, the projection is also enhanced as well. I think they use better projectors. But let's quickly go through some of the moments here, and then we're going to fire these off, and then we'll get into the world-class tests.
So this is for World of Color 1.
For World of Color 1. We already said that the lighting, projections, effects, much better in this show. There's really no comparison. Grandmother Willow scene at the beginning with Pocahontas, where she explains that all you need to do is start one ripple, and then the rest will happen.
Grandmother Willow, there's something I want to show you. Look. The ripples. So small at first. Then look how they grow. But someone has to start them.
Just kind of the whole thesis of the show.
I like the little preload too, where it just starts with she gives some little spiel and it goes, it just takes one.
That didn't land for me. Honestly, I had that in my bad. I was like, this it didn't do it for me.
You're no fun.
I just didn't like it. I didn't like
it. I gotta imagine that Start a Wave is not as good as the World of Color original theme song.
It's not even close.
Do you like it though?
I think it's okay. I think it's somewhat okay. It doesn't get me in the feels like the original World of Color score did. And maybe that's just because I saw it when I was younger. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they did a good job with this one.
It is catchy as shit.
It's more epic. There's a chorus in the original, and this one's just one voice.
It's two voices. It's a guy and then it's Lauren Allred.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny because she's probably, like you said, gave one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. But let's go through some of these scenes. Ratatouille scene, incredible. Love the score. The chasing fountains pair perfectly with a rat chase. Also, it ends with an amazing quote, which is the thesis of the whole movie. A great artist could come from anywhere. Just love that.
The great artist can come from anywhere.
The soul sequence might be my favorite, or among my favorites of both shows combined. It's kind of a sleeper for me because it doesn't use like a Disney-fied jazz score. It's just they basically turn Paradise Bay into a jazz club. It's like a jazz club that has a $75 million budget all of a sudden. And it's well timed to the music, the solos. And this is also the introduction of the lights that are on the Incredicoaster and the Pixar Pal Around Ferris wheel, which you don't see in the original World of Color. And I don't know how many lights are on these. I tried to find how many lights there were for the fun facts, but man, these are really used to great effect in this show.
I do like, specifically with Soul, how well that matches the overall theme to what they're going for in this show.
Yeah.
Where like the main theme suggests this, like that essentially like the heroes that you follow through this journey, it could be from just the smallest actions that create these ripple effects.
Yes.
That could like lead to, world changing or,
yes,
things that could, benefit the greater good. And like in Soul, I think they even include that like soundbite of the student saying, I would have never gone like to school if it weren't for your class. No, something of that.
They're two different shows in that they start with different theses. Both of them start with Walt Disney quotes. World of Color, the original, starts with this quote: "Every child is blessed with a vivid imagination." And that show follows that. You're kind of just wandering through Walt's imagination, very much like Fantasmic in a way, just not as narrative. World of Color 1 starts with this quote: "My greatest reward is to have the public appreciate and accept what I've done all these years. That is a great reward." Which it's much more like, I guess, like work-based, like you finding your purpose, I suppose. And I just feel like the imagination thread resonates more with me, in my opinion. But I see what you're saying. The next good I have here, and this one I just put LOL, remember me. When I first saw this show and we see the opening, we see the first glimpse of the lead from Coco. I actually turned to whoever I was watching it with. I can't remember, but I just went, "Here comes Remember Me." And it's like that scene in Spider-Man when he's like, "You knew this was coming, Pete." And it's just this sad orchestral version of Remember Me, and it's in Spanish, which makes it even sadder.
It starts in Spanish.
It's so good. And I was so angry because I was like, I know you're going to try and make me cry right now. And I still cried because it's just, that movie destroys me. Then we go to the Star Wars sequence. I mean, this shit is absolutely spectacular.
The
Jake Carter and I were talking about this and just saying how it gets us wiggling.
It's very much in the spirit of the Buzz Lightyear, I feel like, from the original, where like the Millennium Falcon now is just really exploring the entire space.
It's incredible. First off, it's to the main score by John Williams, the main score from Star Wars. It starts with two big fountains going up and their lightsabers. One's red, one's blue. And then from there, I think one's green and one's the evil one and one's the good one. and then from there, it's just fucking crazy. There's a lighting package for the light speed section that's insane.
That part's sick.
Dude, it's just an exquisitely designed sequence. When you talk about layering, this shit is so incredible. And then it transitions into the Force theme and kind of slows it down. And it's this kind of like serene moment. And it's just mesmerizing. I was really blown away by it because when I found out this show had Star Wars, I was kind of turned off by it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to feel that. And then when it came on, I was like, wow, they really knocked it out of the park. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen it, just go watch this sequence. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. There's nothing in here that's matched even close in the original in terms of technicals. And then the show does mix in these scenes that really kill you. There's they have the He Lives in You sequence from The Lion King. It just kills me every time I see it. We were talking about Simba's Mufasa lives on in Simba's heart. For anybody that's lost anybody, that sequence really hits hard.
He lives in you.
I think when we watched this with our mom, it was tough. The Mulan explosion sequence, poof,
pretty sweet.
It's pretty fucking good, dude.
The cannon.
Favorite moment. We were talking about it earlier, right, Carter? When when they shoot the cannon up, where it hits like where the Incredicoaster is, like for the avalanche.
Yeah, so Mulan blasts a cannon.
Launcher.
Yeah, she is like a rocket launcher. It goes towards the Incredicoaster, and you see the impact of it on the Incredicoaster because of the lights they have on the Incredicoaster. The thing falls down, and then you just hear this rumbling. And you're like, what's that? And then all of a sudden, the water avalanche just comes.
But it's like
down.
a ripple effect down the line too, right?
Yeah, it's a mic drop moment in the show.
Yeah.
They add a whole new dimension with being able to have the backdrop of the lighting package on Incredicoaster. And by lighting package, I'm not talking about like putting lights on it, but like little individual lights that are on it that could work in tandem. It's crazy. And then they have the I Am Moana sequence. Hits me in the nuts again. It's very sad. You hear the grandmother singing, and I'm just like, God damn it. And then, of course, we have the Avenger sequence. Which I also thought going in would be corny, but I gotta say,
score is so good.
The portals,
dude, they hit you with portals.
They got oh my gosh, I think the light of the Pixar Pal Around, the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, it's going around.
It does the spins.
I have it here.
On your left. Assemble.
Dude, it's an excellent finisher to the show. It's so good. Using portals.
Yeah.
Pretty fantastic stuff. Also, turning the Pixar Pal Around Ferris wheel into a giant portal. It's so simple, but it's a fucking stroke of genius.
It's beautiful.
It kicks ass. And then the last thing I have here is the show ends with this quote, which is the coldest fucking line to end a show on. It's a quote from Walt Disney. He says, quote,
I just want to leave you with this thought. It's just been a sort of dress rehearsal. We're just getting started.
It just takes one.
And then the show ends. It's fucking sick. It's the actual full quote, by the way, is actually much more hardcore. The full quote is this. I just want to leave you with this thought, that it's all just been sort of a dress rehearsal and we're just getting started. So if any of you start resting on your laurels, I mean, just forget it because we're just getting started.
Twice.
Yeah, that's
that's pretty cold.
Fucking, it makes me want to slam two beers together like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No pressure.
Yeah, it's a cold line. It's really good, and it just really completes the show. But that's everything I have for World of Color 1. I mean, can't imagine. Is there anything else I missed?
Did they also embed fountains in the crowd?
In the crowd, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Versus, or is that always in the original?
No, that's not in the original.
Because I remember seeing
in
that.
The crowd. Oh, there's like little mini fountains.
Yeah,
in the
they kind of
now.
go up, and there's like they're little light up fountains too.
They also have the lampposts. I think they did this a little bit in the original, but the lampposts go along with the lighting in Soul. And also, if you have magic bands, those light up with the show as well for World of Color 1, which is sick.
The ears, I remember those.
Yeah.
And yet they still make me go to the browser to make a park reservation. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, they can figure out how to make your wrist dance along to the show, but they can't figure out how to make a park reservation in the app. But it's great.
Does anyone remember when they did the Tron Core?
I do remember that.
So it was at the end of 2010. So it was probably like 8 to 10 months after the original show debuted. Tron Legacy was coming out at the end of 2010, like in December.
Yeah.
So for like that, around that holiday season, after World of Color, the original would end, they'd tack on a few extra minutes where it was
remember this. I do remember
hardcore
this, yeah.
Daft Punk.
Yeah, I remember
and
this.
like
Was it good?
just that
It was
awesome
really good.
Tron aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I remember them sneaking out at the back of one of the late 2010 shows and thinking this,
to promote Tron.
and I was pumped for that film.
I imagine they used the roller coaster a lot for that, with like lines.
They did. Yeah, they did. They did a lot of grid work with the coaster.
A lot of grid work.
And like speaking of the
grid.
coaster, we could go into the bad now. My first bad is I haven't been able to successfully time out the coaster ride.
That's a
with
bad for
World
you?
of Color.
Your own falling?
I almost got it last time. I was a few minutes off, but unfortunately the wait time it went faster than what they actually displayed, and I actually got off the coaster right as World of Color, which was actually good in the sense of I got to go watch World of Color, but bad in the sense that I was aiming to try and get that elusive coaster ride because they close it off at a certain point.
They do.
But if you get in the line at the right time before they close it off, you'll get a spin on it when the show is starting.
If you could time it with a line beer too, then you're really flying.
So if anyone, any listeners or viewers out there that have experienced this could chime off in the comments and make me jealous, or maybe make me feel a little better about not getting on it yet. I'd like to hear your take.
As far as other bads, I don't really have a lot because we've said some of them actually in the goods. I've already said this. One feels like it lacks the connective tissue between the scenes, like the original. I don't like the original song for one as much. I don't think it's as anthemic. You know, I'm not like fucking.
It's hard to top that original one though.
And then I already said that I like the overall just thread that connects everything in the original.
It's way more seamless than the original.
I just like the thesis of the original more so than the new one. Like the new one's based on like like finding your place and working hard in the original.
I disagree with that.
It's finding like who you are. I guess like they're like one step at a time kind of. I don't know. It doesn't. I just like the imagination one more. It just feels like a little simpler to me. But
it's just a simple act of kindness could go a really long way, Ryan.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be this like big grandiose like career changing thing that happens. If you can make a little impact on someone's life in a positive way, it could ripple into, you know, something much bigger. It's really cute.
The show ends with, I just want to leave you with this thought. This has all just been a dress rehearsal. We're just getting started. That's not something when you're saying like, just be kind.
That was the closest thing they could find with Walt Disney. The only thing little he would give off is this little cough whenever he was like walking into the room to make sure everyone was like correct by the time he turned the corner.
That's actually, I did hear stories about that. Let's move on to the world-class tests. The grand finale of this podcast. But before we do that, let's once again thank our sponsors. It's time for the world-class test. This is a rubric of 10 tests painstakingly devised by Byron and myself to determine if an attraction is world-class. To receive the highly coveted world-class pass, the attraction must pass 7 out of 10 tests. A score of 6 out of 10 leaves the attraction up for debate for world-class pass standing, and anything lower than 6 out of 10 is an automatic fail. So let's see if we could get it there. Test number 1, the average tourist test. Would the average tourist have a hard time getting on this ride, or in this case, this show? Is there a long wait? Is there a complicated queue system?
I don't know what it's like anymore.
It's still the same thing. You have to get into a virtual queue now.
Do they give you a color still?
They do, but it's after you get into a virtual queue. Technically, there is some standby areas, but it's very confusing.
At the time of this recording, so this is June of 2024, was it still like a 1 p.m. drop?
12 p.m.
Is it 12?
I think it's 12.
See, I can't even keep up.
Yeah, and you have to have been inside California Adventure.
That's what I don't like about Disneyland anymore.
It's very confusing.
All this virtual lines.
Lightning Lane, Genie, yeah.
A lot of rules.
It just takes the magic out of Disneyland. You know, I like having a physical fast pass like it used to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is standby for this, but I honestly think this is a fail.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think tourists would be.
I feel like more often than not, you could still get last minute. Like, I don't think it's going to be a good view.
No,
but on the other hand, I don't like in terms of especially the nighttime. Like, what else are you doing at California Adventure?
Yeah,
I feel like this is like the big thing to do.
I guess in the spirit of the test, if you wanted to see this show, is there a world in which you wouldn't be able to?
For the average tourist, honestly, it's inconvenient for me to see it still.
Yeah.
So,
do you think like,
I guess
like a tourist from like a different country comes to Disneyland?
Yeah, they're gonna be like, what the fuck
like,
are you
what are we
talking
doing?
about?
Yeah.
You better be in the know. You better do your homework. So I guess for the average tourist, it would be a fail.
You know what's kind of crazy is they let you stand in line for this, even if you don't have your viewing ticket. So there are probably people that get to the front of the line and they're like, all right, let me in. And they're like, oh, you have to stand in line. And they're like, I just did. And they're like, no, you got to stand in line on your phone. And then to which point they'd probably tackle that person.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing is I think it's like one thing to eventually program people like into the system of like, all right, these rides I have to often book.
Yeah.
Especially the e-tickets now. You even for like the season theme park sickos.
Yeah.
You you kind of forget about like doing the virtual queue for a show.
Yes, you do.
It's a little it's a little much.
Because you don't do this for Phantasmic. You just hold your spot. It's old fashioned. I feel like World of Color
at the Riverbell Terrace,
the fireworks too. You just
hold your spot. Where this is the only show where you kind of need a viewing area. I guess because they just don't have the room for people to just be gathering and waiting. But I do think it hurts it. So I think this is a fail.
Damn.
Yeah, I guess it is. It's definitely a fail.
Oh, okay. 0 for 1. Moving on.
It's just so weird because it's such a like the most popular thing to do there.
Which means it should be easy to do. But I guess like if you really were
you think it's the most popular thing?
I mean, at least in like the evening hours. Like
sure.
I guess you could debate like Radiator Springs, Cars, and
Guardians, maybe
even Guardians, yeah, or Incredicoaster for some, or for me, soaring over California. But is this a fail for you too as well?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, fail.
They have 2 shows usually, right?
They have 2. A 9.
Like when it closes late enough.
They have a 9 and a 10:15 usually.
You do have a couple chances.
I still think it's a fail though.
Yeah.
That might be harsh, but just going by the spirit of the test, I think it's a fail. 0 for 1. Moving on to test number 2, the Leslie Stahl test. This is interesting because it's a theoretical. Would you be willing to wait 60 minutes for this if you've already seen this show once? Or if everything in the park was 60 minutes, would this be something you would wait for?
Yeah.
I actually think I would wait 60 for this.
Worth the 62.
Like I would
especially if you haven't seen it in a while. You're getting basically a 30-minute show. Yeah,
like if we were in a world where it's like you can just reserve your spot, I would sit and wait 60 minutes for this show. I would.
After he said that, yeah. If he says it's like a 30-minute show, it's not like you're waiting an hour to get on a 2-minute ride.
No, and we've waited 60 minutes all the time for Phantasmic or the fireworks.
I waited 3 hours for Radiator Springs Racers.
Damn.
When it first opened.
Yeah.
And I got on, and I was like, that was really fun, but I'm not waiting 3 hours again.
No.
For shows, you can literally sit like down on the ground. You don't have to like
that's true.
wait in a line.
And
even if there was a line, I would wait.
And if you're traveling and like that's your California Adventure Day, and especially if you got like that hotel after, it's like you're like, yeah, I'm waiting the 60 with my whole family.
I'm actually gonna pass this one. What do you guys got?
It's a pass.
Yep, pass.
All right, then that is 1 for 2. Moving on to test number 3. The smartphone test. Does the queue of this ride have enough to keep you off of your phone?
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Wait, I mean, what is the queue?
There is no queue. I guess like, is there anything to entertain you while you're waiting?
Oh.
If you were to get like super technical, you could be like, well, you're waiting in a virtual queue. That means you're enjoying the rest of the park throughout the day.
I guess, but then you still have to show up like 30 minutes before.
And then, I could watch the Incredicoaster for days and just be enamored. I like watching roller coasters go wee, but yeah, for any like normal person, there's not the novelty of looking around the bay that's soon to be full of life is not quite doing it.
I think I get excited waiting for the show, but that's not because of anything that they're doing.
The first show normally happens around sunset too.
Yeah.
So you can kind of want to watch it, and it's a nice little scene. I guess
it depends the group of people you're with too. You can play games.
Yeah, but
top 6 game.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with like they're not like some places. Like for instance, here's a good example: when you're waiting for Waterworld to start, they have a pre-show that entertains you.
That's your best FYA episode. Because I freaking love that show so much.
Yeah, but there's nothing like that for World of Color or Phantasmic or even the fireworks. They do nothing to entertain the guests who are sitting on their ass waiting.
You said there was that game on the Ferris wheel one time, though.
That was a long time ago. It was just like the Ferris wheel would do colors. And I think you have to be on your phone, though, right?
Yeah, you do.
Oh.
And you're playing like Simon Says.
Okay.
I think this is a fail. Honestly, I do.
Yeah, it's a fail.
Yeah.
Can I just pass it?
You can pass it. It's not gonna go through.
Just pass it.
So it's gonna majority rules. It's a fail.
Carter's thinking about that beer that he's gonna be holding in there.
Yeah,
but that's a risky move though. It's a long show, so if you pound a couple beers beforehand,
yeah, you can.
You're stuck in the middle of that crowd in the middle of that show.
Unless you're in the front row, then you can just
and you don't want full bladder. Like you gotta be in a comfortable
in the front row. There's a really skinny fountain.
Yeah, you want to be as comfortable as possible for this viewing experience.
Yeah. Wait, were you suggesting that you could pee in the bay?
No, I don't support the recommend.
Then why'd you say that?
I was just trying to fight.
People were like, I thought this only went 200 feet high. What's going on there? Moving on to test number 4, 1 for 3, the Tony Stark test. How innovative is this attraction? Does it push theme park tech forward? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I don't think this is like the first. I mean, I know it's based off of other water shows, but I think it added to them and then some. I think it upped the game of nighttime spectaculars by a pretty wide margin when it comes to tech. So this is an easy pass for me.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Knots the Hanging made fun of it?
Yeah.
I was angry.
And I was like, Knots, I love you, but World of Color kicks ass.
Yeah.
It's innovative.
It's been around for 24 years now, and there isn't anything like it still.
No. Well, now in
places
Orlando,
are trying. Yes, when Epic Universe.
They also had a lesser version in 2016 or 2018. They started that got discontinued. They upped their game this year with the new one. I haven't seen the new ones, but it doesn't look as good as World of Color still.
Do you guys have it over Fantasmic? I'm just wondering.
I have Fantasmic over this show.
Really?
Fantasmic is so good.
I am a Fantasmic just because I like the integration of live actors.
I agree.
Oh.
Do you have World of Color?
Yeah, World of Color. It's my favorite Disney show.
I could see it. I could see
There's
it.
so many moments in Fantasmic that are just so great.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why the one that coming to my mind is when the snake's going and then the lights go boom.
Oh, where the lights are coming out of its eyes? Yeah, it's fucking great. We had that Fantasmic episode. I was having a blast. The World of Color projection booth is actually under the bridge that goes over to the Pixar, Lamplight Lounge.
Where Ao's Grotto is?
Yeah, essentially. Well, now it's Lamplight Lounge. And that's actually where the people who are doing the show sit under there. So actually that view from that bridge is where the people who are looking at the choreography of the show are seeing it from. So just a little something there. Anyways, 2 for 4. That's a pass. I mean, I preemptively passed. Did you guys pass this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to test number 5, the Hollywood test. Can this attraction be adapted for the silver screen? Does it have a comprehensible story? Not really.
No.
This is
it's a well massaged highlight reel of a bunch of different stories, but in itself, it has like a theme. It has like a thesis to it, and lets the imagery and sound bites kind of adhere to it, but it's not necessarily telling its own.
It's tough.
Unique story. You definitely can't make a film out of it because it's basically just a highlight of all these other films.
This is unfortunate because I feel like this attraction is getting dinged here, but maybe we'll come back in the back end. So that's 2 for 5. Moving on to test number 6, the Simpson test. How likely is this attraction to be replaced with something new, a la Back to the Future being replaced by the Simpsons?
It's not getting replaced,
I don't think
or at least not the spirit of the show.
I agree. They'll just keep iterating.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be.
Dude, why did they replace Back to the Future?
That's exactly why we made the test, Jake.
You could find out in our episode of The Simpsons.
You can actually.
I think I've been on the Simpsons one once, and I was
Me too.
I'm never getting on this again.
Yeah.
That's exactly how. Honestly, we had some Simpsons truthers come out in the comments. They were like, "You guys are being harsh on this ride," and that's probably fair, but I don't like that.
Maybe I need to try it again. I don't know.
Maybe Byron and I are going to go to Universal after this, so maybe I'll get on the Simpsons again. I won't. Moving on to test number 7 here, 3 for 6. Right now, if we pass the rest of these, it'll be a world-class attraction.
Just going to pass the rest. It should be.
Carter's going to try and muscle it through.
That was like a shoehorn this, guys. Let's go.
The signature moment test. Can this ride hold its own without its signature moment? Is it a one-trick pony? There's so many signature moments in this, and they all surprise. There's fire effects. There's laser effects.
Got a whole bag of tricks.
Each scene is pretty different, and especially in the new one. I think this is a pretty wild ride throughout. I don't think it's a one-trick pony, even though it's a water show, which is interesting.
Is the signature moment the 300-foot fire blast? You
could make it that. You could also make the signature moment the Mulan hit of like the Incredicoaster. You can make the signature moment
blasting the main theme.
Yeah, the portals moment from the Avengers or Thor coming out, or you can make it. There's so many different moments you could isolate here, and it's all dependent on what you like. So I really do think this is not a one-trick pony. Moving on. I think it's a pass.
Agreed.
Pass. Yeah, let's fucking go 4 for 7. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the last 3 tests, but before we do that, let's once again thank our sponsors. All right, and we are back. Let's find out the fate of World of Color. We're at 4 for 7. Let's move on to test number 8, the premature detraculation test. Does this ride finish too soon? No.
This show does not finish too soon.
22 and 24 is quite lengthy.
I mean, there's been versions of this that went to 30 minutes. That's almost too long. But no, everyone's being fed.
No, everyone's pleased. No one's walking away from this feeling like they just got cheated.
For many people, this is like the last thing they're experiencing for that day.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty invested the whole show.
Yeah. And I don't feel like I needed more, which is great in a good way. Pass 5 for 8. Moving on. Test number 9, the exit hall test. Do you see people be physically excited as they're walking away from this show? Do they have that bounce in their step?
Yes, 100%.
I've seen so many people just like either laughing or just being, I've overheard people be like, that was fucking incredible.
Yeah. The first time in high school, me and my group of friends all went to it, and me and Kevin were trying to get everyone to see it.
Yeah.
We were like, you guys have to see the show. Me and Kevin were the only ones who saw it. And at the end of the show, my friend Layla looked back at me as we were walking away. She's like, I feel like he can do anything now. And I was like, I know.
That also is such a good feeling because I've also been the ringleader in many a Disney trips group. And I've had to fight the uphill battle of being like, look, guys, we got to stay till 9 p.m. We have to stay in California Adventure of all places. It's going to be worth it to see this show. I know you haven't seen it, but trust me. And so satisfying when the show ends and everyone is just like, that was the correct call.
You know, people got the bounce when on a college campus, you could overhear classmates in the cafeteria, like here and there, like, oh, you see World of Color? You do World of Color?
It's so good.
It's so good. And yeah, I think it's still got the bounce. World of Color 1 has the bounce as well. You could hear collective like applause and cheers.
You know,
after every show.
I just realized World of Color 1, I actually think the first time Carter saw it, he was with me.
Yeah, I was. Because I was with both you guys.
Yeah, and I just remember, and that would have been like the second time I'd seen it, and I'd seen it like a year prior, and I just remember, we were properly medicated. Maybe with somebody that sponsors the show. And I just remember looking at each other at the end, just being like, holy shit, that was fucking badass. Oh, yeah. It was so good.
And it's the perfect exit music to like walk out of the park because the rest of the park is closed usually. And then you get that energy boost just to make it to your car.
You feel satisfied. We walked back because our entire family squeezed into 2 rooms in Disneyland, the Disneyland Hotel.
Well, the last show at night, that starts when the park is technically closed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
so
great.
it is the only thing you could do at that point.
Very
so it's a
funny
good
trip.
way to get bonus time in the park outside of their regular operating hours. But that's also because they just assume everyone's going to be watching it.
And then the last... what were you going to say?
My Blue Man Group experience with my friends.
What?
I was like hyping up Blue Man Group and went to go see it. I thought it was awful. I felt so bad after.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than hyping up something and then everyone was like, cool, man.
Like what I did for Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda Universal. That's a pass. All right. We're now officially in debate land. So even if we don't get to 7, we could debate it into world-class pass standing. But let's make it official. Test number 10, the fine wine test. Has this attraction aged well? Has your opinion of the attraction appreciated or depreciated since your first experience? Or if it's a new ride, do you think this will age well? I mean, Byron said it before.
Seems
24 years in, I'm still...
oh, wait, I'm an idiot. It's not 24. Did I say 24?
14. It's 14.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just went with your math and then just like didn't even check it in my mind. But 14 years in, I'm still just as excited to see this show as the first time I saw it. Every time I'm out there, I'm fucking stoked. Because
24 years would be crazy.
20. I think in 24 years, I still will be.
In 10 years, we'll be
I
saying.
don't remember seeing this when I was 7.
Because it passed the Simpsons test.
No.
So it will go 24 years.
I think this is a very clear pass for me. It gets better every time I watch it.
Yeah, it's a must do.
Well, once
California
again,
Adventure.
14 years, what has been done to match this in terms of what it's trying to do? We'll see, I guess, next year with Epic Universe and whatever fountain show they have coming out. But they keep honing in on the craft. They've made improvements to the tech.
Yeah.
It's definitely a pass.
I am excited to see Universal Orlando's new show because it features Jaws and E.T. and shit like that. I think, which is gonna like really hit hard for me. But I don't think there's anything out there, at least as far as I know, that has come close to matching this. And even if there was, I'm still excited to see this. Like, this is a great show. So I think it's a pass for me.
Would you put it as your second favorite nighttime spectacular?
I would. In terms of nighttime spectaculars, I put it at my second favorite. My favorite theme park show of all time, though, is Waterworld.
Waterworld. it's still
got
there.
Waterworld.
I mean, I get it.
What do you do to make World of Color more advanced?
Well, I didn't think you could
put drones in the sky.
Which, by the way, which actually the Universal Orlando show does feature, I think somewhere like, this figure's inaccurate, anywhere from like 250 to 500 drones that accompany the show.
Dude, those drone shows are crazy.
Yeah.
But I do think that Disney's going to start moving in that direction as well. So, like,
well, they've already kind of started with some of their other shows.
They have over in Disney World, or not Disney World, over in Disney Sea, I think.
Well, they definitely did it in Paris, right?
Anyways, let's is this a pass for you guys?
This is definitely a pass.
It's a pass, right?
Yeah,
it's a pass. All right, we're passing it. Congratulations to the World of Color. That is a world-class attraction, 7 out of 10. I think the score could have been higher. We were a little tough on it in those first 3 tests, but you know, it is what it is. I had to be honest. Thank you guys for coming on to the show, hanging out. Normally when the 3 of us are together, we're playing video games or at a theme park. Honestly, or
we've altered course. We're all doing something extremely useful now.
Yeah, that's right.
Talking World of Color.
And I hope you guys like our new set. We spent a lot on it. Took a lot of energy to put that sign over that Pod Watcher sign. But
Pod Watcher under new management.
This is actually usually the part of the show where I would ask the guest, do you have anything to plug? But Jake, the only thing he's plugging is cavities because he's a dentist. And Carter works here.
Yeah.
That does it for this episode of For Your Amusement, though. Make sure you follow the pod at FYA Pod across all the socials. I'm at Ryan S. Bergara on Twitter and at Ryan Bergara everywhere else. Byron's at Byron A. Marin. But until next time, make sure you guys subscribe to the show if you're watching it over here on youtube.com/watcherpodcast. And if you're listening, rate and subscribe there as well. But yeah, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.